It's that what is it? What's in the turkey? Is tryptophan? It's the
The
tryptophan already
tryptophan is
hitting.
kicking in early. Right. The Saints at home against the Bills. This line is shot up to 6.5. I bet it on Tuesday afternoon at 5. It had been sitting at 4.5 for a while. Started moving a little bit. Basically, it was based on the Saints' injuries, and man, this team is devastated with injuries right now. It is crazy. So here is who they haven't updated it for Tuesday yet, but Alvin Kamara, Ryan Ramczyk, Adam Troutman was put on IR. Marcus Davenport didn't practice. Mark Ingram didn't practice on Tuesday. Teron Armstead didn't practice on Tuesday. I think Taysom Hill is hurt too, and he just got a $700 million extension that's actually worth $3. Trevor Siemian actually has a right hand injury that is not keeping him from practicing, but he's the starting quarterback. So this line has shot all the way up to Bills minus 6.5. I cannot find a compelling reason other than Sean Payton being 3-0 on Thanksgiving in his career, which is mildly compelling, to take the Saints here against the spread, or certainly to win outright.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I in my weekly picks that I do for the site, I think I had it at 5, very similar to you, 5 or 5.5 before it really started to shoot up. But I'll still take the minus, 6.5 here. You're under a touchdown with the extra point. You're feeling okay going into this one, particularly with those injuries. I already liked it as a bounce back spot for Buffalo after that performance against the Indianapolis Colts, where Jonathan Taylor just demolished them. And now that they're avoiding an elite running back, or it looks like they're going to avoid an elite running back now in Kamara, and then a backup running back possibly in Mark Ingram, and Ryan Ramczyk might not play in this game, all pro right tackle. I mean, it is just, the Saints are in a really bad way going into this game. And Buffalo is hungry. They just fell out of first place in the AFC East to New England. They want to get back on track in the worst way possible. They're going to lay it out there in New Orleans.
I always think about the actually, the stats aren't even as good as I remembered. But 2 years ago, Josh Allen went to Dallas on Thanksgiving. It's like, oh, can Josh Allen handle the prime time? And boy, did he handle it. 19 to 24 for 231 yards and a touchdown. Oh, right. He had 10 carries for 43 yards and a touchdown, too. That's why. Josh Allen sneakily, like, I don't think this gets talked about enough. His primetime numbers are really good. Like, he doesn't, it's a little early Farvian in terms of you don't want to bet against Josh Allen in primetime. It doesn't get talked about. He doesn't make a big deal out of it. He's not like Russell Wilson where he wants, like lets it, like purposely leaks it out that he's really good in primetime, needs people to know. He's really, he just puts up numbers. And I think that, Dennis Allen, great defensive coordinator, Sean Payton, great coach. There's only so much chicken salad you can make with chicken poo. I mean, and frankly, the Saints right now are chicken poo with all their injuries.
And I'll tell you this too. I mean, not only has Allen played well in primetime, but the Bills fairly recently, they've done well following straight up losses. 3-0-1 against the spread following straight up losses over the last 4 games. And they go into this game, I mean, as much as we talk about how, the Colts just demolished them in that game last week, they're still averaging 6.3 yards per play over the last 3 weeks. I think it's the second best in the NFL. I mean, this is still a potent offense that's going up against backups.
Well, I mean, and look, like that Colts game wasn't even about the Bills. I think it was more about the Colts just coming in and running on their faces. Like that's what it was more than the Bills just being a bad team. And we did see too after that horrific Jaguars loss. They score 6 points and lose in Jacksonville. They bounced back in a big way and obliterated the Jets. The Saints are not the Saints are a good team. They're a playoff caliber team, but they are so banged up right now. I don't think this gets to maybe. I think it probably gets to 7. I don't think it gets to 7.5 because you're just asking, like, you're giving Sean Payton 7.5 points at home on Thanksgiving. This is the under that scares me the most, by the way. And primarily because the Bills could keep their foot on the gas and score 40 points themselves if they wanted to. I don't think they'll do that. I can picture, however, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs just like chewing into a turkey leg on late on Thursday night. What about your props for this game?
So for the props, I'm going, this one's really expensive, but we just talked about it with Josh Allen. Over 1.5 passing touchdowns, minus 180.
Same price as Dak.
it just feels like such a gimme. He's been so good in these spots. He's thrown multiple touchdowns in 8 of his 10 games played this season. He would have to go completely pretty much against his norms in a bounce back spot. They would have to collapse, in my opinion, to have you would have to come away from this game saying, "Oh no, what's wrong with the Bills? Are the Patriots going to just now run away with the division if all of a sudden he's not throwing for multiple touchdowns in this game?" Because that's what
Which
they do. They
wouldn't
don't.
upset either.
No,
I
it
mean,
wouldn't. Yeah, no,
wouldn't upset me as
yeah.
a holder of a Patriots division bet from way back in April. Yeah, let's see. I took I agree with that. I mean, did it just move to 170 while we were what? What did it just 180? What happened here?
We got Caesars in the chat. They're
yeah, that's what we do. Debo clicks it. They're like, oh, look at this square. Let's move it down to 170. I put in. I've got really Zach Moss under receiving yards. Why wouldn't I? 8.5. I don't see Zach Moss being involved in the pass game.
no.
If and again, we're projecting a situation. You're talking about game script where we think the Bills are going to be winning handily. They're not going to be dumping off to running backs. If they're running a pass play to a running back, it'll probably be actually it might be Matt Breida or Devin Singletary. And I think they'll probably get up and then pound the ball against the Saints run defense that is good, but got absolutely shredded by the Eagles last week.
Just went to 9.5.
What's that?
Just went to 9.5.
What? What are we reverse sharping this? What is happening?
I don't know.
People are hammering the Zach Moss over receiver.
We have swing apparently. I don't know if it's good or bad, but we have swing.
What is that? And it's juice to the over too. I don't. You know what? I don't even like this. I don't even like this bet. Now I want off this bet. Moving lines, reverse. They're like reverse moving. Well, don't bet that now. Wait on it.
They saw us really
hammer.
hammer the unders, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh god, these guys are on something."
These
this week.
squares are we're reversing the line so we can get a better number. We're gonna bet more on the other side. I also had Dawson Knox under 3.5 catches. Again, the whole concept behind these two props were the Bills are leading. The Bills are not going to be throwing, like, you're not going to get the ancillary options involved a ton. And Knox is not on there now for whatever reason. Let's see if he's see, you got any other props? So I look up the Bills.
Well, I think that's interesting because I'm on the opposite end of you with Knox. I actually like the over on his receiving yards at 3.5, minus 110. He's coming off a game where he had a season high 10 targets, caught 7 passes. Admittedly, in a blowout, they're trying to catch up to the Indianapolis Colts. Like, you can see where that all those targets can come from. But he's also been one of those just kind of go-to guys for Josh Allen, particularly in the red zone more than anything. We'll talk about him more when we get into the first touchdowns too. Yeah. But the Saints, they've allowed a pretty much 5, or just under 5 catches per game to opposing tight ends this season. Dallas Goedert had a pretty successful game against them last week. I know a lot of attention's being paid to the running game and really just the dominance that the Eagles were being able to put against the Saints. But Goddard had himself a nice game there, and I think Knox is capable, to have that similar type of outcome.
Look up Josh Allen rushing yards. I saw 33.5. If it's 33.5, that's too much, I think. So because if you look at if this moves to 34.5, I'm just hanging up and go to my in-laws. If you look at the last sort of stretch here, he had 2 carries for 18 yards last week, 2 carries for 3 yards a week before that, 5 for 50 against Jacksonville, but they were trailing, they were trailing.
You got to look at the games,
point, sort of, panicky. 8 for 55 against Miami. Again, they won that game by double digits, but shouldn't have. And then 9 for 26 against Tennessee, a loss. 11 for 59 against Kansas City. They used him by design in the run game a lot against Kansas City. If they don't use him by design in the run game, I sort of like that under. Now, he can bust that wide open in the first quarter if Brian Daboll decides to use him on design runs. Like, we're totally effed. But if the Bills are controlling this game, I think that under is a decent look.
Especially on a short week. Like, let's not expose our franchise quarterback in the midst of a division playoff race to any more abuse than we need to, especially if they have it in hand. I could see that.
Yeah. I did, however, Having said that, I will take Josh Allen. Do you have any more props, by the way?
Singletary over
Sorry.
24 and a half rushing yards, 8 out of 10 this season. It just feels like he is going to be the back that could bust
I was waiting
one
for that to
open.
move to like 20, like
Yeah,
20,
right.
like I don't know, like 20,
Just
17 and a half.
we the Saints had 2 backs last week that went over 60 yards, Howard and Miles Sanders. I'm not expecting anything similar because the Bills don't really it's not the same. They don't really run the ball as heavily. But if anybody's going to have a impactful day on the ground, I think Singletary has the biggest burst ability where he can rip off a 15-yard run and get you there pretty easily.
All right, first touchdowns. Having said that, you should take the under on Josh Allen rushing yards. I will take Josh Allen at 8-1 to score the first touchdown. Terrible number. Don't care. Josh Allen is their red zone weapon. And I didn't email this, but oh my, is Dawson Knox over? You see it? What? Scroll down. What's Dawson Knox? He's gotta be 11-1.
Yeah, you think he's 10-1, 11-1?
Where is he? Why is he? What is it? Where did Dawson? What is going on here?
He was my bet, so
no, but he's not. Yeah, you sent him in at 10-1. He's not listed for. Very bizarre. Dawson Knox just disappearing on Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Yeah, Dawson Knox. I think to me, I mean, this is how slanted this game is towards the Bills. How far down do you have to go before you find a Saints player, Debo? Sanders, Singletary, Moss, Traquan Smith, 15-1. What are we doing? Oh, Matt Breida 26-1. That's a bet, actually.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. So I would go. I like Knox a lot too. Breida and Josh Allen. And golly, maybe it's because there's no. Let's see who the Saints a little further down, Debo. If you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/pick6, you can see it. It's because the Saints, again, their injury report is a mess. We don't know. It's maybe Tony. If Kamara and Ingram are without, and you can get Tony Jones for anything past 15-1, that's probably worth a look. I don't even know who you're taking for the. I mean, who else are you taking for this game? If you're trying to get somebody for the Saints, because you won't know who gets the ball first until obviously kickoff.
Right.
I mean, it because the Saints are so banged up, it's essentially all marking. See, on my site, marking 6.5-1. I got Dawson Knox 13, Traquan 16, Tony Jones Jr. 25-1. Somebody will be betting that right now.
Yeah, that's probably the one you pay attention to, right? It's either going to be Ingram or Jones.
Right. Like Kamara, I think it's really unlikely Kamara plays.
Yeah.
Maybe Ingram plays, but he didn't practice on Tuesday. That's a problem. Tony Jones 25-1. Bet Tony Jones 25-1 if you can find it. I think Breida at 25-1 is worth a little stab too.
Breida's interesting. He looked good in limited capacity against the Colts last week.
Yeah. And I would bet too that if you put these in now, like we're going to see these drop substantially, I would guess, on Thanksgiving Day. So may want to take a look at those now if you have them. God, what a gross. This is such a it could be such a great game. It's just kind of gross.